Picture this. You practice basketball every day in high school. Work hard, you got some talent, and you get to college. And then in college, you increase your practice, your mastery of shooting, dribbling, passing, so forth. Then over time, you make it to the pros, the goal you've had for so long. And then you stop. You stop shooting, dribbling, passing, and just playing in general. Now, does that make any sense? No. And yet we seem to do this to ourselves all the time. We set up these goals and we build plans and habits to reach for them and achieve them. But I'm not going to lie, for some of us it takes a lot longer to reach success than others. It takes a lot more work to reach success. But once you get up to that point, you reach the pinnacle that you're going for and you stop. And we do this all the time. We stop doing what got us to that point, which is no good. Now, I'm not going to sit here and talk about how life is a journey and enjoy the process and everything. You're going to have goals. You're going to have things to reach for that you want to achieve, that you should want to achieve, and that's good. That's part of life, right? You should want to take your life from where you are, especially if it's not great, and move towards something better. I think we can all see the nobility of that. And these goals that we reach for don't have to be what I just described. They don't have to be becoming a professional athlete, because let's be real, that's really hard, takes a lot of talent, and it takes a fair bit of luck, I'd say. But even a simpler goal, at least in theory, of getting healthier. We shoot ourselves in the foot with this all the time. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us have had this experience. One day you'll be like, I'm gonna work to be healthier, I'm gonna eat healthier, eat cleaner, cut out all the junk food I have all the time, and I'm gonna really push myself. And you might have success, for a week, 2 weeks, even a month, and then you notice something. You notice a change. You find yourself becoming a little slimmer. Say you do a little bit of exercising with that, you might notice a little bit of muscle coming in and you're like, oh my gosh, look at this. There's a good chunk of people who see that and that gives them the drive and the push to keep going. But I would argue for the same number of people that happens for, we seem to see the opposite effect. People where they have a little bit of success, they see the difference it makes and they stop. You're like, oh, I'm good to go. I'm healthier right now, right? I can have a little cheat meal here or there. I can have a little cheat day. You can, but you have to have that worked into your plan, man. You have to have that built into a habit. If your goal is to eat healthy and you do it for a month straight and you're like, I deserve a reward, you might have a point, but don't make that reward into stopping what you're doing. If you are noticing a trend, you don't get to a point where you've lost, say, 5-10 pounds and then you can start eating the way you were before again. You can't do that. You have to continue your upward trajectory, right? It doesn't mean you're not going to make mistakes, and I've talked about that before in other videos. This one specifically, I've talked about that. But regardless, you have to keep measuring your success. You have to keep going on that upward trend. You can't just take a cheat day, which will then turn into another cheat day, which before you know it, you're just back to the beginning. It's the same way with working out and exercising. You have to keep going with your process, your journey, and I'm not saying that's the whole point necessarily, but there is something to it, right? To have a goal, to reach that goal, a lot of the time I think we become satisfied. Not entirely, but you're kind of like, I did it, now what? So you have to make sure that you continue the process. And that's why having something to push towards that goal has to be something very, I don't want to say unachievable, but it has to be good. It has to be really, really good. Like if your whole life is, I want to get out of poverty and I want to have a good family and be rich, that is a great ideal to strive towards. And you'll have success as long as you make the right plans, build the right habits. You might need a little luck here and there, I'm not gonna lie, but it's achievable. These steps are achievable, but you have to break it down into baby steps. The danger is to have a little taste of success, a little reward, and to fall back into your old ways. I see this all the time. I see the same thing with NoFap a lot of the time. You might be finding a lot of success, you might be improving on your habits that you're building up and losing the old ones that you've thrown away. And then before you know it, you might have a little weak point in the day. You might have a one time where something happened and you fall down, make a mistake, and it's just a downward trajectory. With any habit that you build, you have to make sure it's a continuous process. Have goals, have something to strive towards, yes, and do that throughout your life. You will change your goals as time goes on. That happens with literally everyone, unless you're an idiot. Then you might do the same thing over and over again, which is insanity. You have to continue the work, whether that's habits, planning, practice, long after you've started to see the success for it. If you want a life change, if you want your life to be different than what it was before, you can't push towards something, reach it, and stop doing what got you there. You have to continuously go. It sucks, but that's where so many things come into play. Discipline, sustainability, actually having the process be somewhat enjoyable. You have to take all these things into account, and it is okay to change your goals over time. It's okay to make adjustments. I think we have to keep that in mind, because you might have set a goal in the past and realize, okay, you know what, I'm either A, not going to achieve that, or B, that's not really what I want to do anymore. And it's okay to change course after a little bit. And that doesn't mean that all the work that you put in the past is wasted. That's not it at all. It's like having this chart where you start in one direction because you think that's where your goal is, and you realize over time, okay, that's not exactly what I'm going for. So I'm going to change course a little bit. I'm going to go this way a little bit. And you start making progress that way. You might have some slip-ups here and there, but you keep driving towards that new goal, which is similar to the old one. You know, let's say the first goal was, I want to be healthy. Super vague. But you push towards it anyway. Eat a little healthier, work out, exercise a little bit, and you're going towards it. Over time, you're like, you know what? I want to be healthy, obviously, but I also want to start powerlifting, okay? So you change course a little bit. You're like, okay, still going to do a lot of the same habits that got me to at least trending towards being healthier. But we got to switch it up a little bit. We got to eat a little differently. We definitely got to work out a little differently. Set in our programs a little more focus on the strength side of things. And then you change course. So now you're going towards a little different point on the chart, but it still adds on the healthy portion, but now it adds on your new goal of, well, I want to power lift, so I'm going to do that. And so let's say you're working towards that. And this can be a process of weeks, months, years. It really depends person to person, you know. You have to actually execute on the goals you see ahead of you, the ones you set, and you have to have a little discipline to keep with it. But that doesn't mean over time that you have to stay structured on that exact thing that you don't really feel you're half-hearted about nowadays, okay? And it's okay. That's why changing it up, but having something is very important. So you can think of this chart however you want. I find it pretty useful, you know? It's keeping in mind what you've done in the past. The progress you've made towards one goal doesn't mean that that does not carry over into the new one, okay? So that's all I got for you guys. I appreciate you guys watching to this point. If you like the video, hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. I got a lot more coming out. And let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I really appreciate back and forth with this. I hope everyone's doing well, and I'll see you later. Take it easy.